Years ago, in the small Central American village of Mangao, a tribe lived in abundance. When famine struck the community, the village piñata maker Juma decided to craft a special piñata to combat the drought. When a fatal disease then swept through the village, the shaman, Antop, prayed to the spirits while Juma continued with his creation. The village suffered. Antop sacrificed a pig, and its heart became the central force of the piñata, attracting evil energy. Then, a man used a sacred stone to trap the evil within the piñata. They finished the piñata and Antop performed a ritual in the sacred river, shouting to the sky. Each villager stood before the demonic piñata to purge the evil within themselves, and afterward, they touched a piñata of good fortune. Antop pushed the evil piñata down the river, away from the tribe. Shortly after, they celebrated by breaking the good fortune piñata, while the evil one drifted away, struck by lightning. The piñata had to remain intact so that evil would not be unleashed. In the present, a group of students from Woodson University heads to an island, with he took a separate boat from his supposed girlfriend, Tina. Kyle asks her to let him come aboard from the other boat. Carmen asks Tina if she has spoken with Kyle. Tina replies that her ex-boyfriend has already made a decision. The event judges, Paul and Monica, welcome the fraternity and sorority students to the 12th annual Fif de Mayo scavenger hunt. They instruct them to set up camp, which is a 10-minute walk away. Julie asks if there is a bathroom nearby, and Monica replies that there is a portable toilet at the campsite. Her schoolmates look at Julie in disbelief as she expresses her surprise, but Monica calls everyone's attention again and gives them an hour to settle in. After setting up camp, everyone enjoys a round of drinks, cheering as each member takes a shot in their initiation ceremony. Paul announces that their goal for the scavenger hunt is to collect the most underwear out of the 2,500 pieces scattered around the island. Monica proclaims the prize of $2,000, half of which will be donated to charity, while the other half will go towards improvements for the winning fraternity and sorority house. There will be signals to stop at the end of the day and anyone who returns to camp. After an hour, they'll have deductions from their score. Each pair will receive 2 bags for their collectibles and have the opportunity to get some booze if they break the piñatas around the island. Then, everyone pairs up and gets handcuffed in teams. Jake is with Julie, while Larry is paired with Connie. Dog and Carmen team up, as do Bob and Lisa. Lastly, there's Kyle and Tina. Although they protest the pairing, despite this, Paul handcuffs them, dismissing their complaints. Tina is defiant while the rest gather at the starting line. Paul signals the start of the game, and the rest of the students rush toward the woods, leaving Kyle and Tina at the campsite because they refuse to participate. Kyle tries to remove the handcuffs, and the two argue. Tina is irritated by the situation and Kyle's pulling. He then accidentally falls to the ground and drags her down with him in an intimate position. Tina complains about their predicament, and Kyle sarcastically mentions the fellow student he thinks she wants to be with instead. Tina avoids the subject by calling him exasperating. The scavenger hunt ends, and Kyle mockingly agrees. Meanwhile, Bob takes Lisa to a place filled with lingerie, bragging about his insider information. He reveals a key to their handcuffs, pressuring her to take them off. He then pulls out a compartment. Lisa grabs one, and soon both are laughing as they gather the lingerie around them. While Lisa collects some garments, she spots a mud figure in the water and drags it out. She falls on her back, laughing from the heady smell she has inhaled. The giggling student accidentally calls out to her companion, calling him Bill, while showing the piñata to Bob. Lisa wonders what is inside, because it looks old. He convinces her to break it, and finds a stick to hit it with. After her attempts with the wooden stick fail, they search for a rock instead. As they turn away, the piñata's eyes glow red. Lisa presents a rock to Bob and the two kiss, excited to break the piñata. Bob proceeds to hit the mud creature until he breaks it, releasing the evil spirits within the piñata. Suddenly, the two hear a strange howling sound that frightens them nearby. The crack in the piñata lights up as Lisa and Bob are surrounded by a screeching sound. Confused, Lisa starts to worry about what they have done, asking Bob for reassurance. A spooky growling noise fills them with anxiety, and they look around, following its sound. Suddenly, the piñata lunges toward Bob, savagely hitting him with a stick. The piñata continues to attack Bob. channeling the evil spirits of his past. It turns to Lisa, so she flees screaming, leaving her friend behind. Back at the camp, Kel offers Tina a truce. Although they continue to argue, he urges her to join the scavenger hunt, as his fraternity has a 3-year winning streak. Kyle threatens to drag her if she doesn't cooperate. She doesn't believe him, but he pulls her arm, forcing her to accept his terms. He orders her to behave, which irritates her. Even so, they're now in the game. Somewhere in the woods, Larry uses a GPS and a beta chi map to navigate the area in search of his fraternity's secret stash. Connie follows him apathetically. When Larry notices a strange noise, Connie calls for attention, but Larry doesn't want anyone to hear them, so he guides her off the path, narrowly escaping the demon's path. The team ducks down, waiting for possible competitors to move away, when Lisa unexpectedly appears to tell them about Bob's death. Lisa hysterically narrates what happened with the piñata, but the two laugh, incredulous at the idea that a piñata could be responsible for something so serious. Then, Larry notices Lisa's bad smell, and Connie asks how she got her handcuffs off. They both think Lisa is sabotaging their scavenger hunt to win, causing Lisa to run frantically. Afterwards, the piñata spots the team and watches another piñata laughing while mocking them. Taking revenge for Bob, they break the container full of alcohol and toast to their prize, unaware that the demon is watching them with anger. Back at the camp, Lisa explains to the judges what happened to Bob and suggests they should leave the island. Meanwhile, at the Beta Chi hideout, Larry and Connie dig a hole and find a secret stash of lingerie. Excited, they fill their bags, but when Larry searches for the shovel, the piñata attacks them from behind, hitting Connie with the shovel. As it hits her, Larry tries to escape, but his hand is still handcuffed to her, leaving him helpless as he screams desperately. Meanwhile, Monica and Paul discuss Lisa's story and mount their ATVs to investigate. Elsewhere in the woods, Tina tells Kyle how she slapped her fellow student when he tried to kiss her, assuring him that she wasn't unfaithful. She continues collecting lingerie while sitting on Kyle's shoulders, but he changes the subject, urging her to move quickly. The judges find them, remove their handcuffs and report on the situation, ordering them to return to camp and send the signal to end the game. Before leaving, Monica gives them a walkie-talkie to communicate. Shortly after, Monica and Paul explore the island and discover Bob's body hanging from a tree, which deeply frightens them. This indicates to them that something more than an animal is causing this havoc. Elsewhere, Jake and Julie are having an intimate moment, unaware that the piñata is hanging from a rope behind them and lowers itself, targeting them. Suddenly, Julie suggests they continue counting their collection to ensure they win. They have counted 272 pieces of underwear when they see the mud piñata nearby. The couple heads towards the monster, and Jake tries to break it, but the demon stops him and dismembers him. Julie screams in fear as the piñata lunges at her. Shortly after, Kyle signals all teams to return to camp, surprising Dog and Carmen. Although it is not yet the end of the day, they quickly gather their things and rush back. Meanwhile, at the camp, Lisa recalls the horrific events of the day as she gently rocks herself. Nearby, Kyle apologizes to Tina for jumping to conclusions about her fellow student. He expresses that he misses her, and she reciprocates. The two kiss and hug, reconciling after their misunderstanding. In the woods, Paul communicates with Kyle via walkie-talkie, notifying those at the camp about Bob. Paul instructs Kyle to take the others to the beach and leave the island once they have a full boat, while those remaining can go in the second boat. Next, the judges continue searching for the students on their ATVs. Afterward, Kyle asks Lisa to tell him what happened to Bob. She doubts he will believe her, but he presses her. Elsewhere, Dog and Carmen are lost, struggling to return to the camp. On the beach, life jackets float near the shore as Kyle, Tina, and Lisa discover their wrecked boats. Kyle notices hoof-shaped prints in the sand, growing more curious about the attacker in the woods. Paul and Monica are ambushed by the piñata, forcing them to speed up. Paul gets ahead, but Monica crashes into a log, which throws her from her vehicle. To save her, Paul gets off his ATV and runs to where she fell so they can escape together. Her leg is hurt, so he helps her, but the demon is too fast. Unfortunately, it catches up to them and hits Paul's leg. Monica can't leave Paul, But when the piñata heads towards her, he grabs the demon's leg. The piñata continues to hit him, giving Monica a chance to escape. Heading downhill, she swings on a tree and falls, crawling away. Later that night, after lighting a bonfire, Tina, Kyle, and Lisa speculate about who or what the attacker is. Kyle asks Lisa if the piñata has hoofed feet, but she only remembers its red eyes. Tina gets irritated by the subject, but Kyle mentions a Mexican legend that relates to Lisa's story. Lisa summarizes what happened in Mangao, telling her friends about the town's suffering and salvation. Kyle describes the piñata, and Lisa nods to confirm this theory, but Tina remains skeptical. Then, Lisa recounts how she and Bob broke the piñata. Although they couldn't understand it at the time, they heard a sound that seemed to be the villagers wailing. Meanwhile, the piñata crawls away, its red vision illuminating its path through the bushes. At the same time, the campers hear a sudden noise and approach. Suddenly, Dog and Carmen emerge from the shadows. The friends laugh, but Tina, Kyle, and Lisa remain serious, leading Dog to wonder where the others are. The next morning, the campers discuss their next move. Lisa wants to leave the island, but Tina and Kyle try to convince her to search for the others. However, Lisa insists they stay at the camp, where it is safer to wait for help. Dog agrees, but Kyle argues that they should stick together and help rescue their friends. Later, the group searches the forest, but the demon spots them. Soon, the students smell something strange and find a savagely wounded deer. Frightened, Lisa tries to convince them to return to camp, but fails, and they continue on. Moments later, Dog stops to remove a stone from his shoe, telling everyone to go on without him. The group advances a bit, but decides to go back for Dog before continuing their search. As Dog follows them, a rope catches him and drags him to a tree while the piñata watches. Soon, Carmen notices Dog's absence and retraces her steps. The others follow her, but Dog's disappearance causes an argument among them. Unbeknownst to them, Dog is nearby and in danger. Eventually, Carmen and Lisa decide to return to camp, while Tina and Kyle continue onward. Soon, Tina and Kyle track the footprints until they realize that the evil creature is heading to the camp, so they run to warn the others. Meanwhile, Lisa and Carmen are on their way back, but Lisa needs to pee. Carmen allows her to go, urging her not to take long. At that moment, their friend screams, "Alert Tina and Kyle," who find Lisa. Kyle decides to go look for the piñata while the two girls wait. However, Lisa, terrified, runs off, forcing Tina to follow her. Meanwhile, Kyle searches for the beast, but finds Monica instead. At the camp, Lisa sees the tent moving and, wondering who is there, approaches. Suddenly, the piñata drags her inside and attacks her. Then, Tina arrives at the camp and the demon chases her. She stumbles, but recovers and runs towards their meeting place. At the same time, Kyle and Monica arrive at the meeting point and wait for Tina. Elsewhere, Tina runs for her life with the piñata hot on her heels. Unexpectedly, Kyle catches up to her and pulls her into hiding. He asks her where Lisa is, but Tina just shakes her head. That night, the piñata continues to monitor its surroundings. Kyle decides to throw some stones to attract the creature so they can escape, while they search for the judge's ATVs. Monica tearfully tells them about Paul, blaming herself for his death. This time, they plan to hunt the piñata instead of being hunted. Shortly after, the group finds an ATV, and Kyle siphons gasoline into their canteens as they hear a roar. The demon heads towards them, but they narrowly manage to escape. The three stop to catch their breath, and Monica asks what they will use as bait. Suddenly, Paul's body falls in front of them, and Monica screams, alerting the monster. The remaining judge is in tears, but Kyle comforts her so they can move on. Soon, the trio sets to work on their plan to defeat the demon. They set a trap with a bonfire burning in the center of the camp. As it approaches, the piñata detects Monica's voice as she talks about herself, pretending to be unaware of its presence. The demon recognizes her voice and quickly approaches. At that moment, Kyle swings from a tree as the piñata attacks what it believes to be Monica. However, the figure turns out to be a mannequin with a watermelon and Monica's clothes, revealing the group's deception, who used a walkie-talkie to imitate her voice. Kyle traps the monster in a sack with a rope holding it in place. Then, Tina sets fire to the piñata and they watch it burn. However, it manages to escape and hits Monica in the face before turning to Tina. Meanwhile, Kyle swings from the other side, hitting the piñata and ordering Tina to bring the gasoline. The demon hits Kyle, sending him flying, while Tina fills a bottle with gasoline and defends herself with a frying pan. Kyle is almost defeated when Tina throws a flaming glass bottle at the piñata. It begins to shake, recalling visions of the spirits of Mangao in its final moments. Finally, the piñata explodes, scattering the evil spirits. The group takes cover behind a pile of wood as they watch their camp catch fire. Shortly after, the campus police arrive on the island. Tina, Kyle, and Monica are interviewed, and a detective asks them what happened there. The trio can only look at each other, knowing that their story would be hard to believe.